10,000 years before the 41st millennium, before the endless grind of faith and corpse starch, before the black ships and the pyres. This is the Great Crusade. Humanity had clawed its way back from the long night. The Emperor rose from the rad wastes beneath the Himalaya, gathered his gene sons, and unleashed the Legiones Astartes upon the stars. 20 Primarchs, 20 living weapons forged from his own blood and genius. Each one a masterpiece, each one a tragedy waiting to happen. They conquered system by system, sector by sector. Forgotten colonies brought back into the fold. Xenos empires burned to glass. The imperial truth marched with them. No gods, no daemons, no superstition. Only mankind, reason, and the Emperor's will. At the head of it all stood Horus Lupercal. First found, first favored, Primarch of the Luna Wolves, soon to be the sons of Horus. On 100 worlds, men spoke his name the way they once spoke of gods. He was the War Master before the title existed, brilliant, beloved, utterly lethal. When the Emperor looked at Horus, he saw the son who would never fail him. Ulanor was the high water mark. The greatest orc empire the galaxy had ever suffered was shattered in a single campaign, mountains of green corpses, the sky black with burning hulks. When the last war boss fell, the Emperor did the one thing no one expected. He stepped back. He named Horus War Master and turned the Bucephalus toward Terra. There was work to be done in the webway, he said, the future of the species. The final safeguard. Horus stood on the observation deck and watched his father's ship dwindle to a speck of gold. Millions of worlds, billions of lives, all his now. For the first time in his life, the War Master felt something cold settle behind his ribs. Not fear, not yet, just the first faint breath of doubt. The warp is never quiet. It watches. It waits. 4 gods who have worn 1,000 names across 10,000 civilizations saw the Emperor's secular empire rising like a wall of cold iron between them and the souls they craved. They could not touch him directly, so they reached for the son he loved most. Davin, a backwater moon, swamp-choked and crawling with half-mad cults. Horus was wounded there by the anatheme, an alien blade forged in the warp itself. The cut would not close. A demigod who had walked through plasma fire and orbital bombardment was dying in a Medicaid tent. His Mournival, his inner circle, made the decision. They carried him to the temple of the Serpent Lodge. The priests promised healing. They did not mention whose priests they were. Horus slipped into the death sleep. His soul was dragged screaming into the immaterium. The gods showed him the future, a future where the Emperor sat upon a golden throne and let himself be worshipped as a deity, where the Primarchs who had bled for the Imperium were erased from every record, their names scrubbed, their statues toppled, where Horus himself was remembered, if at all, as just another disposable tool. They offered him power, they offered him truth. The most dangerous lies always are. He woke on Davin with the wound closed and something else open inside him. The golden certainty was gone. In its place burned cold, perfect ambition. He would not be cast aside. He would save the Imperium from its father. The corruption spread like a blood infection to Angron. He offered the chance to drown the galaxy in slaughter without restraint. To Fulgrim he offered perfection without limits. To Mortarion he offered the chance to kill the ultimate tyrant, the Emperor himself. One by one, the grievances of 9 Primarchs were fed, stroked, and turned into blades. Horus was the War Master. He controlled the Vox channels, the supply lines, the Legion deployments. He moved pieces no one else even knew were on the board. By the time the trap was ready, half the Legiones Astartes had already sworn new oaths in the dark. Istvan III. Horus needed clean legions, no half measures, no loyalist remnants who might hesitate when the time came. He ordered the loyal elements of 4 legions, the sons of Horus, World Eaters, Death Guard, and Emperor's children, down to the surface to suppress a fabricated uprising. Once they were committed, he gave the order. virus bombs. The Life Eater fell in perfect silence. Within minutes, the atmosphere turned to soup. Flesh ran like wax. Then the incendiaries struck, and the entire planet became a single funeral pyre. Some survived. A handful of captains, Garrow, Loken, others, had been warned by men who still remembered what the Emperor's dream was supposed to be. They fought for 3 months in the ash and the poison, brother against brother, until the last of them were hunted down. The mask was gone. Word reached Terra. Rogel Dorn refused to believe it until the picked feeds arrived. The Emperor did not hesitate. 7 legions were sent to Istvan V to bring the War Master back in chains or leave his head on a spike. The drop site massacre. The first wave. Salamanders, Raven Guard, Iron Hands, crashed into Horus's prepared defenses like a hammer on an anvil. They fought like lions. They expected the second wave to hit the traitors from behind. The second wave arrived exactly on schedule. Iron Warriors, Night Lords, Word Bearers, Alpha Legion, they opened fire on their own brothers. Ferrus Manius was cut down by Fulgrim in a storm of blades and betrayal. Vulcan was taken alive and broken for sport. Corax escaped with barely a company. 3 legions effectively annihilated in a single afternoon. The road to Terra lay open. Seven years of war followed. 7 years of worlds burning, of legions tearing each other apart, of the galaxy learning what civil war between demigods actually costs. On Terra, Rogel Dorn turned the Imperial Palace into the greatest fortress in human history. Every spire became a gun battery, every mountain a redoubt. The walls were rebuilt 3 times over. When Horus's armada finally translated in system, it blotted out the sun. The siege of Terra lasted 55 days. Demons walked the streets. The warp bled into real space along the lines of the great cathedrals. The Imperial Fists, Blood Angels, and White Scars held the line with everything they had left. Sanguinius stood at the Eternity Gate for hours, wings spread, slaughtering anything that tried to pass. A single angel holding back hell. The outer walls fell. The Lion's Gate fell. The inner palace was breached. Then came the message that changed everything. The Space Wolves and Ultramarines were inbound. Days away, maybe less. Horus made his final gamble. He lowered the shields on the Vengeful Spirit. An open challenge. Come and finish it. The Emperor accepted. He, Sanguinius, and Dorn teleported aboard with the remnants of the Custodes and the Sisters of Silence. The warp twisted the corridors. The 3 of them were separated. Sanguinius found Horus first. The War Master was no longer the man who had stood on the deck at Ulanor. He was swollen with the power of 4 gods, eyes like dying stars. He offered Sanguinius one last chance to kneel. The angel refused. The duel was short and vicious. Sanguinius fought like the last pure thing left in the galaxy, but Horus was beyond him. He broke the angel's back across his knee and cast him down. Yet in that final moment, Sanguinius drove his sword into Horus's armor, just deep enough to leave a crack. Then the Emperor arrived. He saw his favorite son dead at the feet of his brightest. What followed was not merely a fight. It was 2 gods trying to kill each other across every layer of reality at once. The Emperor held back. Even then, even after everything, he still loved Horus. He searched for one spark of the sun he had raised. That mercy nearly cost him the war. Horus tore out the Emperor's eye, shattered his arm, flayed the skin from his chest. It was only when a lone Imperial soldier, some records say a Terminator, others simply a guardsman, stepped forward to shield his Emperor that the last illusion died. Horus killed the man with a thought. No mercy, no hesitation, just contempt. In that moment, the Emperor finally understood. Nothing of Horus remained, only the thing wearing his skin. He reached into the heart of the species itself, drew every ounce of psychic power he could grasp, and drove a lance of white fire through the chink Sanguinius had made. The Chaos Gods screamed and fled the broken vessel. For one heartbeat, the true Horus looked out through his own eyes. He saw his father. He saw what he had done. Father, the Emperor, did not hesitate again. He burned Horus's soul from existence, every echo, every possibility, so the gods could never bring him back. The War Master fell. The heresy ended. Rogel Dorn found the Emperor on the deck of the Vengeful Spirit, body shattered, soul half burned away. With his last strength, the Emperor ordered them to carry him back to the Golden Throne, the machine that would keep him alive for the next 10,000 years. Not alive enough to rule, just alive enough to suffer. The dream died on that ship. What rose in its place was the Imperium we know, a rotting theocracy that eats its own children to keep the lights on. The Emperor became a god he never wanted to be. The Primarchs became legends or monsters, the legions became chapters, and the galaxy learned the final truth of the 41st millennium. There is no hope. There is only war. But sometimes, late at night, on a quiet world, far from the front lines, an old soldier or a scribe or a child who has read too many forbidden texts will remember the story of Horus Lupercal, not as the arch-traitor, but as the brightest star that ever fell. And for one brief moment, they will wonder what might have been if that doubt on the observation deck had never taken root. Then the sirens sound, the black ships arrive, the pyres are lit, and the long night continues.